And you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I just got back from my one-on-one private fucking tuition with my jiu-jitsu coach. And I can tell you this right now, if I hadn't have done this today, I would not be getting the 3 stripes on Friday. That's for fucking sure. I was fucking stressed about today. I did a Patreon podcast last night, and I pretty much had a meltdown halfway through. I couldn't think of anything besides the fucking 35 techniques I had to fucking memorize before I fucking did the private lesson today, which I hadn't. And at the time of recording the Patreon podcast, it was fucking 10 p.m. and I hadn't fucking memorized any of them, or I'd memorized 6 of them. And I just wasn't fucking into the Patreon podcast. Anyway, fucking if you want to see a fucking on-camera pretty much fucking meltdown, not like a hardcore meltdown, but just someone that is talking with no fucking purpose. Anyway, I stayed up till like 1 trying to fucking memorize these techniques. Just the fucking names of them in order. 35. It's harder than you think. You have to group things. Once you get to like 18, there has to be a reason why something's next to something. So I just went through them and I ended up fucking figuring out why they're in that order. So there was like 4 sweeps. There was 5 submissions from guard. There was a bunch of other shit. Anyway, you don't need to know about that. So fucking I was able to memorize them. But then the problem is, do you know how to fucking do the moves? So I go into the fucking dojo in the morning and get ready, and the coach is just like, all right, fucking let's do it. I do the first move, which was a major outer reap takedown. That was fine. And then it was, no. What's this? No, you meant to... you meant to know these. No. Wrong. Wrong grip. What are you doing with your leg? Why is your leg like that? Wrong hand. I'm like, Jesus, fuck. Just for like the first 12. Just like, no. You've been doing these moves for over a year. You meant to know these moves. I'm like, I do, sort of. He's like, no, they're all wrong. I'm like, oh, God. For fuck's sake. So I go through all 35. There was some real bad ones in there, but I was decent at the fucking newer ones. The ones that I've been actually practicing for the last fucking month. So they were fine. So 15 of them were fine. The rest of them were like a mess. So he's like, I can't go through all of them with you now. Some of them are fine. You're 80% on some of them. On the other ones, you're like, fucking, you would have failed. He's like, if you pass, it would have been like a 51% pass. So he's like, all right, let's choose 10. The fucking 10 you're shittest at. I'm like, that is going to be hard to fucking narrow down. But he managed to narrow it down pretty quickly. So he's like, all right, let's drill these 10. Let's get these 10 locked in and we'll see where we're at the end. So that's what it was all morning, just drilling these fucking techniques into my fucking head. It's like fucking, it makes so much difference learning something properly. The stress of not knowing things is not worth it. The potential humiliation of being slightly lazy on fucking learning something is not worth it. Just fucking do a little bit of extra work and then you don't have to worry about any of the other shit because you know the stuff. Why am I still learning that lesson? Fucking, do you hear Goldie there? I don't know what Goldie wants. This fucking cat, it's driving me nuts now. Hold on a second, I'll see what the fuck this cat wants. What's up? This fucking cat, it just meows to open a door. That's like its secret password. I feed it. It doesn't even let me put the food in the bowl. I have to pour it on its fucking head, basically. Like, get the fuck out of here. And I can't move it away from the bowl because I'm scared it will fucking scratch me. Fucking feral cat. And then once it's finished eating and had a little nap, it just starts meowing again. I'm out of here. Meow. I'm fucking out. Fucking Goldie. Anyway, I'm fucking sorted for my 3-stripe on Friday. I'm also going to approach jiu-jitsu a little bit differently now as well. Instead of just focusing 100% on the fucking wrestling, that's all I care about is just the fucking wrestling. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the techniques and the reason behind the techniques and why the fuck I'm learning the techniques. Because just that 1 hour of getting these specific techniques down has fucking opened up a whole new world to me. I'm like, all right, I can use this. I can use this technique in the wrestle. I swear to God, my level of stupidity is just fucking astounding. People must just listen to this and just go, how the fuck is this guy breathing? Anyway, it's Wednesday. It's Boyle Breaks History time. Don't think I've forgotten about that. So this week's Boyle Breaks History, I wanted to do the Council of Nicaea, but once I got investigating it, I realized it needs some more context. So I had to go back in time to add the context. So the Council of Nicaea was like basically a big fucking meeting between 318 bishops of the Christian church to work out what the fuck they're going to believe in. But to get there, you need to understand a little bit of the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Boyle Breaks History on the Edict of Milan. So you probably haven't heard of it, as I hadn't an hour ago. But the Edict of Milan granted religious tolerance to Christianity for the first time. This is back in Rome. So the Edict of Milan was passed in 1313 by Roman Emperor Constantine or Tine. So before the Edict of Milan, Christians were fucking persecuted. They had to go in hiding. They practiced their religion under cloak and dagger. It all sort of started with Nero, that crazy fucking Roman emperor who just fucking... He's a wild cunt as well. He was doing a lot of fucking and a lot of murdering. And he didn't like the Christians. So the Christians were persecuted for fucking a long time. And then along came Constantine, who fought a bunch of civil wars and finally won the leadership of Rome. And realized that the Christians could help him. Even though they had been persecuted, they were still a big demographic. So fucking... Constantine wrote into law the Edict of Milan, legalizing the practice of Christianity. No more persecution. But problems arose after that. That's why I wanted to do the Council of Nicaea. Because after all those years of persecution, two things happened that caused problems. The first one was people renounced their Christianity and took up paganism out of fear they were going to be fucking tortured and killed. And then when Christianity got legalized, they wanted to come back. And then the Christians who hadn't fucking turned their back on the church were like, hey, you cunts are heretics. Where were you? Where were you when we really needed you, you fucking cunts? So that's one of the problems. And another one of the problems was a lot of the churches weren't in communication during the time it was illegal and the Christians were being persecuted. So, as happens, a lot of different churches began to interpret the fucking scriptures in the Bible a little bit differently. So there were quite a few different opinions on what God and Jesus were. And that was settled, sort of, at the Council of Nicaea. Anyway, that is some early Christian history for you. The Edict of Milan basically legalized Christianity. That's all you really need to know. Emperor Constantine, 313 AD. Alright? Good. Anyway, that will fucking do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.